Since Repair Clinic encourages you to perform this procedure safely, a warning icon will appear when you should use caution. Many refrigerator repairs will require some disassembly of the appliance. Before you attempt this, be sure to unplug the power cord. To reach the circuit boards or components behind the lower rear access panel, you will need to pull the refrigerator away from the wall. To do this, first open the freezer drawer and pull the base grill forward to remove. Next, use a 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to rotate the brake feet counterclockwise to raise them. You can now roll the appliance forward. To access the circuit boards, use the 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to unthread the screws to release the access panel. Cut the retaining tape if necessary, then use a small flathead screwdriver to depress the tab to detach the plastic cover. To reach components like the condenser fan motor and the primary water inlet valve, unthread all of the screws to release the lower rear access panel. If you need to replace the fan motor, first pull the fan blade off of the motor shaft. Use a 5/16" wrench to unthread the 2 mounting screws, securing the fan motor to the bracket. Pull the old motor free and disconnect the wire connector. Install the new condenser fan motor by first connecting the wire connector. Then align the motor on the bracket and thread the screws to secure. Slide the fan blade onto the motor shaft until fully seated. Reinstall the access panel. Push the refrigerator back against the wall and lower the front brake feet until they are in contact with the floor. Replace the base grill by aligning the ends of the grill with the leveling assemblies, then snap the grill into place. If you need to release the dispenser user interface assembly, use a small flathead screwdriver to depress the tabs on the bottom. Disconnect the 3 wire connectors to fully uninstall the assembly. To uninstall the ice store assembly, use a 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to unthread the 4 mounting screws, securing the assembly to the housing. Unhook the wires from the retaining clip. Release the dispenser water line from the assembly. Disconnect the ice door motor wire connector. Release the tabs on the left and right sides, and you can pull the assembly out. If you need to replace an actuator paddle component, first remove the drip tray. Then unthread the 2 lower screws and the 2 upper screws, securing the dispenser housing. Pull the housing free. If you need to replace the paddle, use needle nose pliers to detach the actuator spring. You can now release the tabs to detach the actuator paddle. Install a new actuator paddle by aligning it in the housing, making sure the arms snap into place on the tabs. Realign the actuator spring. Reposition the dispenser housing and thread the upper and lower screws to secure. Replace the drip tray. Keeping the wires and water line in front of the ice store assembly, reposition the assembly in the housing and snap it into place. Thread the screws to secure. Connect the motor wire connector and hook the wires behind the retaining clip. Snap the dispenser water line into place. Reinstall the user interface assembly by first connecting the wire connectors to the appropriate terminals. Insert the upper tabs into the slots in the housing and snap the assembly into place. To access components like the water filter housing and reservoir, first depress the water filter cover to release it. Then rotate the filter counterclockwise to remove. Using the 1/4-inch socket or nut driver, unthread the 2 screws securing the reservoir access panel. Pull the panel down, using a flathead screwdriver to help detach the mounting posts. Disconnect the LED light wire connector and set the panel aside. To remove the ice box, first use a small flathead screwdriver to pry off the waterline retainer. Depress the retaining ring to release the ice maker fill tube from the valve port. Disconnect all of the ice box wire connectors. For easier access to uninstall the ice box, remove the upper left shelf. Use a putty knife or a flathead screwdriver to depress the tabs to release the ice box's front cover. Then disconnect the wire connector. Now unthread the 2 mounting screws securing the ice box. Pull the ice box forward and down to fully release, and you can access and replace the ice box fan motor and the ice maker. Reinstall the ice box by aligning the hooks on the top with the notches in the liner and push the ice box back. Replace the screws. Reinstall the front cover by first connecting the wire connector. Then align the top edge and snap the cover into place. Replace the upper shelf if required. Reconnect all of the icebox wire connectors. Reinsert the fill tube into the valve port until fully seated. Snap the waterline retainer into place. Reinstall the reservoir access panel by first connecting the LED light wire connector. Insert the 3 tabs at the back into the slots, then snap the mounting posts into place. Rethread the screws. Reinstall the water filter and close the cover. If you need to replace any freezer components, fully open the freezer drawer and use a 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to partially unthread the 2 top screws, securing the drawer front to the glides. Lift the drawer front up to detach it from the glides. Next, use a large flathead screwdriver to help detach the left and right drawer stops. Lift out the center drawer. Detach the main freezer drawer bin assembly from the glides and set it aside. Release the support bar collar and you can remove the support bar. To remove a main drawer slide assembly, use a 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to unthread the 2 front mounting screws, securing the assembly. Pull the assembly forward to remove. To reach the evaporator, depress the tabs to release the upper freezer drawer and set the drawer aside. Next, unthread the front screws securing either the left or right upper drawer slide assembly, depending on which main drawer slide assembly you removed earlier. Pull the assembly forward and set it aside. Now unthread the screws securing the evaporator cover. Detach the thermistor cover and release the thermistor from the cover. Fully remove the evaporator cover. Remove the insulation block as well to access the fan motor assembly. Before reinstalling the evaporator cover, realign the insulation block. Now align the thermistor wire in the notch as you reposition the evaporator cover. Secure the cover with the screws. Secure the thermistor in the thermistor cover and snap the cover onto the evaporator cover. Reinstall the upper drawer slide assembly and thread the front screw. Replace the upper drawer. Reinstall the main drawer slide assembly by positioning it on the liner and mounting posts, then push back. Thread the mounting screws to secure. Reinstall the support bar and snap the collar into place to secure. Replace the main drawer bin assembly. Reinstall the center drawer, then snap the left and right drawer stops into position. With the freezer drawer glides fully extended, you can reinstall the drawer front by aligning the plastic studs and the mounting screws with the bracket slots. Tighten the two screws. To remove the refrigerator doors, use a Phillips head screwdriver to unthread the screws, securing the two top hinge covers. Lift off the covers. To remove the left top hinge, you will need to lift up the clasp and detach the dispenser water supply line. Depress the catch to disconnect the wire connector, and unthread the screw to release the grounding wire. Use a T25 Torx bit to unthread the front and rear mounting screws, securing the top hinges to the appliance. Leave the two side adjustment screws intact. Support each door as you remove the hinge. Open each door to a 90-degree position and have an assistant help you to lift the doors off of the hinge bushings. To access components behind the evaporator cover in the refrigerator compartment, you will now need to remove the center hinges by unthreading the three mounting screws. Remove all of the shelving from the refrigerator compartment. Lift out the glass covering the crisper drawers. Remove the glass frame, along with both crisper drawers. Lift out the storage tray. Open the pantry drawers and remove both bins. Push up on the levers at the bottom of both drawer glide brackets to release the right drawer front from the brackets. Then slide the glides back into the refrigerator. To remove the left drawer front, you will need to detach the temperature control wire connector cover. Then use a small flathead screwdriver to help disconnect the wire connector. You can now release the drawer front from the drawer glide brackets and fully remove it. Use a flathead screwdriver to depress the tabs to release the wire harness access cover on the left side slide assembly. Then disconnect the light switch wire harness. Next, release the tabs securing the crisper drawer support panel. Lift the front of the panel up and pull forward to remove. Use a thin putty knife to detach the vertical frame mullion, then disconnect the wire connector. Detach the access cover on the right side slide assembly and disconnect the two light switch wire connectors. Use the 1/4-inch socket or nut driver to unthread the screw, securing the horizontal frame mullion assembly. Release the tabs on both sides of the assembly and fully remove it. You can now lift out the center pantry drawer slide assembly. Slide the rear support bar to the left to detach. Next, release the water filter cover and uninstall the water filter. Unthread the screws securing the reservoir access panel. Pull the panel down and detach it from the mounting posts. Disconnect the LED light wire connector and set the panel aside. You can now use a flathead screwdriver to help release the air tower. Unthread the 4 mounting screws securing the evaporator cover. Pull the cover forward from the top to remove, to reach the refrigerator's evaporator fan motor and the damper control assembly. When the repair is completed, realign the evaporator cover and rethread the screws. Reinstall the air tower by aligning the bottom first, then push the tower into position. Reinstall the reservoir access panel. Reinstall the water filter and close the cover. Reinstall the rear support bar. Reposition the center pantry drawer slide assembly. Keeping the wires secured, reinstall the horizontal frame mullion assembly. Rethread the screw. Reconnect the wire connectors and replace the access cover. Reconnect the vertical frame mullion wire connector. Make sure the tabs are straight, then snap the frame into place. Feed the crisper drawer support panel wire harness through the left side slide assembly as you reposition the support panel. Connect the wire harness and replace the cover. Next, replace the pantry drawer fronts by inserting the drawer front brackets into the glide brackets. Then release the levers to lock the drawer fronts in place. Reconnect the temperature control wire connector on the left drawer and replace the cover. Reposition the drawer bins, making sure the instruction decals are facing forward. Replace the storage tray. Reposition the crisper drawers. Realign the glass frame and replace the glass. Replace all of the shelving. Before you reinstall the refrigerator doors, you should confirm the closing cam at the bottom of each door is properly set. With the hinge base parallel with the door, insert the hinge pin and bushing into the hole. Now rotate the hinge so the base is at a 90-degree angle to the door, and the cam should be reset. Realign both center hinges on the frame, then thread the mounting screws to secure. Make sure the hinge bushing and washer are intact. Then set each door on its respective hinge bushing at a 90-degree angle and confirm it closes properly. Reinstall the top hinges. You will need to feed the wires and water line through the hole in the left hinge as you position it on the door. Thread the mounting screws to secure. Slide the bushing over the wires and water line and insert it into the left hinge. Connect the wire connector and thread the screw to secure the grounding wire. Reattach the water supply line. Replace both hinge covers and secure them with the screws. With the reassembly complete, plug the power cord back in, and your refrigerator should be ready for use.